right, welcome in. This is episode 6. Me and Noah are doing a two-parter. I have mine up currently. I'm gonna go first, and then I'll bring Noah's part in for part 2. Been a terrible week. I've applied to about 10 million jobs. If anybody has any clue of a decent place that's hiring, hit me up. Because I'm getting bored and going crazy. But all right, well, we're at week 4, and so there's some good games on this slate today, this weekend, and on top of it, I think that there's some good overall kind of points to make about some ways people are swaying, like such as like public money or how I'm feeling about certain games. So right away, I'm gonna go into this the Atlanta Falcons Jacksonville Jaguars game. If you're not watching it on the Toy Story mode at 9:30 in the morning, you're missing out. That's definitely the version I'm going to be watching. I can't wait for it. But bright and early, last 7 games over there overseas have gone under. The last 5 games for the Falcons on the road have gone under. I know that you're not supposed to just blindly bet trends, but I'm definitely feeling the under on the Jags Falcons game at under 43.5, and I love the first half under, like absolutely love the first half under at 21.5. So it's kind of what I'm thinking for that game. And let's go into this next game. Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. This is a game where I think a lot of people probably feel as if a lot of the public money is going in on the Miami Dolphins just strictly because, they put up 70 points last week, and that's all we're hearing about in the media. I think it's really getting a little bit overblown from just media outlets. I get that they put up 70 against a bad defense, but people also need to remember that a lot of people really love the Bills, and 53% of the money thus far has been placed on the Buffalo Bills. So it's not like it's pretty even, and it's not like an overwhelming majority amount of the money is on the Miami Dolphins for you to kind of like quote unquote fade the public. So honestly, I don't really have a side that I'm feeling for this game. I know Jalen Phillips is probably trending towards not playing. I think that's another big loss for the Miami Dolphins defense until those guys kind of like Jalen Phillips and Jalen Ramsey kind of get back into the things. They're going to be kind of going through a little bit of some adjustment period through the first like 6-7 weeks of the season. But what I do like is some books have the under at 54.5. I absolutely love that under on FanDuel. Right now it's at 53. Maybe somebody will come in and bet it up again. But I'm in on that under at 54.5. And I also love the first half under at 27. So I know I just gave out 2 unders, not the most glorious thing in the world to look at, but just the way it's shaken out, these numbers are really high. And usually when these teams play each other, especially like Dolphins Bills in a divisional matchup, those games usually go under. Real quick here, this is from Sharp Analytics. Divisional dogs are 11-6 against the spread the first 3 weeks. That's 69%. The best win rate since 2018, 9-7 outright with those underdogs. So obviously the Green Bay Packers lost last night, so that shifts things a little bit, but just something to kind of remember going into the slate this weekend. Let's see here. Let's just keep going in on this Bills Dolphins game. I have still a few notes on it. The Bills have yet to play an offense that has ranked above the bottom 5 in one offensive category. They've been either below in all 3 or below in rushing or passing or all 3. They haven't really played a great offense yet, and they also have every team that they've played thus far has been a bottom 8 in red zone efficiency. So also Jordan Poyer just got ruled out today. That line hasn't really moved at all. I know that DeMar Hamlin great story, but I mean, he's a liability in that secondary. You can probably expect Tua to kind of pick on him a little bit. If I were to be leaning any side on this, I think this is a Dolphins statement game to show everybody that they're kind of the real deal. Like I said, it's not like the public's in on this game really heavy on the Dolphins to make me feel otherwise. So I kind of do like the Dolphins +3. All right, so next game here, Steelers Texans. I don't know, man. Like, I definitely feel like sorry, Colton texted me. I definitely feel like the Texans are getting like entirely too much respect. I know that CJ Stroud has been playing really well, but pretty much the entire offensive line for the Texans are out, and I know they're missing a few other starters. I know that I've kind of shit on the Steelers a little bit. They've kind of, I don't know, it's just one of those teams you don't really know what you're going to get from week to week. But honestly, against this Texans offense, which is down some players, I don't know. I like the Steelers to potentially roll. Colts Rams. I don't know. Maybe Colts. I don't really have any. I didn't really dive into that game too much. It's not something that I have much interest in watching. Minnesota Vikings. Man, if they don't get their first win this week, something's gonna happen. I don't know what it is. I don't know if people are gonna be getting fired or somebody's gonna be getting traded, but I don't think McConnell's on the hot seat. So maybe those Kirk rumors, if he gets traded, if somebody needs a quarterback, but I don't know. I don't know how to really feel about this game either, but I do think the Vikings get their first win. Honestly, Tampa Bay Bucks, New Orleans Saints, low key always kind of give us like a classic matchup where might not be like a ton of points scored or anything like that, but it always seems to, they have like an actual rivalry, which you don't really see that much in the NFL. Like, I know that like Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore always go at it. Carlton Davis and Michael Thomas go at it on Twitter. And I mean, these games always tend to go under. I even like it at 39.5 to go under because of how physical these teams play. Something that I saw that was like actually like pretty crazy was 76% of the public money, according to the Action Network, is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I don't 3.5, and I get that it's probably gonna be a close game. But that much money on one side of the game, it being one-sided, I'm probably going to lean towards the New Orleans Saints in this situation and the under for sure. Eagles Commanders, we touched on a little bit on the Tuesday show. Sam Howell is on pace to get sacked like 120 times so far this season. He leads the league in getting sacks. Against an Eagles defensive line and pass rush that is proven to be elite and proven to have a lot of sacks. They did last year. They're already playing well this season. I don't really see how the Commanders combat that, and I think that it's going to be an ugly game, and I think the Eagles roll. All right, I know a lot of people think this is one of the worst games on the entire slate, but for me personally, this is like one of the most exciting games that like I cannot wait to watch. I picked the one thing here is, how do the Broncos lose by 50 last week? 50. And then are 3.5 point favorites at Chicago. I don't know. I just think that that's a little crazy. I think this game, if anything, should be a pick 'em. I definitely like the Bears points, but I definitely like the Bears money line. I think that they go out and get their first win. Over under, no fucking clue. It seems high, but like I said, I don't know. But yeah, I'd like the Bears to go out and kind of play their game, and Justin Fields just needs to be himself. He knows that he can be successful from an offensive perspective individually based on what he did last season. So kind of take that of what you know in your head and translate it to this game and do your thing and don't overthink it. Yeah, this is probably the biggest game on the slate. I'm assuming. I mean, I don't really know what else would be. The Browns have the number one defensive success rate literally the first 3 weeks of the seasons. This is the defense the Jets think they were. They're not. The Browns are the real deal. The Browns are getting into the territory of comparing them to all-time great defenses across the board. And if they continue to play at this elite level, and it starts right here with playing against the Ravens and shutting down Lamar Jackson and then continuing it on to other great offenses. Already, the Ravens are so banged up. I already saw Rashad Bateman's out for this game. Big shock, Odell Beckham Jr.'s out for this game. I know that's probably the most shocking thing that's everybody's heard. Saw Kyle Hamilton. He did practice, but banged up. O-line banged up. Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum. They just can't get healthy. Gus Edwards. They just can't get healthy, and I think that is always going to play a big role into these games. But then again, you have Lamar Jackson, definitely leaning towards the Browns in this game to go and win. And there's some also some stats behind this. This is also from Warren Sharp. I like the first half under and the full game under in this game. And based on these stats, why I'm taking the Browns as well. This referee crew. This referee has called 27 of 42 games, 65% under in total in divisional games. This is a divisional game. This referee tends to call these games under, and things tend to favor the home team, winning 60% across 110 games sample size since 2016. So, if you just look at those percentages, you're getting well over 50% to take the under and the Browns in this situation. I think both these defenses are tough. I think that it's a close game, but I think I like the first half under, the full game under, and the Browns. Okay. Next here. Cincinnati Bengals, Titans. Don't have much on this other than maybe the Titans are really bad this year. I think Joe Burrow continues to get healthy. I don't think the run game is going to be too effective for the Bengals, so definitely look for them to open up that passing game. T. Higgins needs a bounce back game bad. I mean, I've never seen him drop that many balls. Same thing with Jamar Chase. Keep getting him going and doing his thing, and the Bengals could be trending in the right direction. Vegas Chargers. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any opinion on this game or anything like that. If anything, I'd probably take the Raiders, but I don't know, man. They suck. New England Patriots versus the Cowboys. Big letdown spot last week for the Cowboys, dropping a game to the Arizona Cardinals, where you kind of got the first official look of what it looked like with McCarthy calling the plays in Dallas, and he kind of didn't have a lot of answers. Dak threw a really bad pick to end the game. They had red zone efficiency struggles. Give the ball to Tony Pollard. I mean, he's a dog. Rico Dwaddle did his thing as well, and I would also like to see Dak throw the football way more and get his playmakers involved. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything about this game either. I mean, I definitely might sprinkle the Patriots money line, but I do like Jake Ferguson to score a touchdown. I know that might be random. Hey, Cardinals, 49ers, a lot of points. Don't know how I feel about it. I'm probably not going to bet that game at all. I did just acquire Christian McCaffrey in fantasy. Shout out to Grant Brenneman. Absolutely blockbuster of a deal. I traded Raheem Mostert, Alvin Kamara, who's back off suspension this week, and Garrett Wilson. Thank God that guy's not on my roster anymore, for Christian McCaffrey and Christian Watson. Christian Watson had a touchdown last night in his first game back, so I'm liking the way that looks. And then obviously Christian McCaffrey is the league MVP, so that speaks for itself. Seattle Giants, still no Saquon. This is another game where 74% of the money are on the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. So I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this game. I picked the Giants to upset the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. It was a close game, and then they really ran away with it at the end, and it looked awful. So I don't know, man. It's really hard to pick this Giants team with their offensive struggles and, of course, not having kind of their best player in Saquon, but probably stay away from me, like I said again. And I would like to see the Seahawks get Jackson Smith and Jigba going a little bit. I know he was injured, hurt his wrist, and he's like working his way back, but that's somebody who I'm really expecting to see over these next few weeks, like start getting integrated into the offense a little bit more and actually kind of become a little bit more of a difference maker for them, and give them some short and intermediate routes across the middle of the field and outside the numbers. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all I have today. So my final card are a lot of unders. So Jags under, Jags Falcons under, full game and first half. Next one is Dolphins Bills, first half under 27, full game under 54.5. And then Saints Bucks under 39.5. And then lastly, the Browns Ravens, full game under and first half under, and Browns to win outright. So nothing really crazy this weekend. I told you guys I'm done. I absolutely 1,000,000% refuse to bet college football unless if it's a lock. If you have a lock, drop it down in the comments so I can bet it. But for me personally, man, I've just been missing on it so bad, and I can't justify keep watching these games and always being on the wrong side of it. With that being said, I forgot about this. I'm gonna just dive into just a quick little Lions pack recap. The Lions look for real. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, I had the Packers money line boosted and realized they were going to have all those offensive linemen out until the game started. I mean, David Bakhtiari has been hurt the last 4 years since he's torn in his ACL. So I'd never really rule him being in or out as like a major issue because he's never really available. And then I know Jair Alexander was kind of a game time decision. That's another guy that I really want to see be healthy more. He always seems to be banged up. I don't even know what's really wrong with him. The Lions have a super underrated D-line, stalling the rushing attack. I mean, every single time that somebody tries to run the ball, there's just nowhere to go. They're blowing up the backfield. Aiden Hutchinson proves pretty much through these first couple weeks that he was undoubtedly that first overall pick that should have been taken in that draft, and not Trayvon Walker, who has kind of been silent in Jacksonville and not been the guy that they needed. And Aiden Hutchinson is a guy that could be greatly appreciated in a defense like Jacksonville, who's lacking an elite pass rusher. So yeah, I mean, the Lions might be for real. I mean, like I said, we're only 4 weeks in. I saw Noah tweet like, I don't need to see this Packers team on prime time. Like, Packers made that interesting close to the end of the game and then obviously gave it up. But Packers could easily be 4-1 right now, or 3-1 right now. Like, they're not a bad football team. I think that they're a little banged up and they're getting guys back to getting fully healthy, like Aaron Jones, Christian Watson. You need to get Jair Alexander back in on defense. But other than that, I like this Packers team, and I like them to. I mean, them are the Lions. I mean, they're going to be at the top, and that's going to be a fun game later on the season when they play each other. But yeah, it's pretty much all I have today, and I'm going to cut. This is the worst thing that FanDuel's ever done. FanDuel, take this down. Take down the Kelsey specials with Taylor Swift. It's overblown. We're finished with it. But anyway, I'm going to go into the second part of this episode with Noah Malone and see what his picks are. I don't know what they are, but if they are anything like they usually are, just fade them.
All right. What's up, everyone? So for the sake of keeping it relatively short, I think Steve and I are just going to go and sort of run through a couple bets for this weekend that we both like. We both know that if we did sit down and run another podcast in the attempt to make it like 45 minutes, we would end up just making it like a full another hour and a half. So I'm just gonna go through a couple of mine. I think I have like 5 or 6 for this weekend, and then I think Steve's gonna do sort of his own thing and share a couple bets with you guys that he likes as well. So I'm gonna start off here. First one that I really like is gonna be Mac Jones versus the Cowboys. The last time that I looked, his line was over 213 and a half passing yards. Let's just make sure that's still what it's at. Um, yeah, 213 and a half minus 115. So a couple stats behind that. So far through 3 games, he's thrown for 201 versus the Jets, 231 versus Miami, and 316 versus the Eagles. Now, I know that that last game versus the Jets is not where we really want to be, but he's played 3 pretty good defenses. So I like this number. He's been over 213 every time besides one. Um, the Cowboys defense, obviously, they don't have Diggs, and we saw Josh Dobbs and the Cardinals kind of do their thing against them last week. So I kind of expect Mac Jones to go out there and throw not all over the place, but I think he can hit that 213 and a half. And then the last time that Mac faced the Cowboys was back in 2021, and he threw for 229. I think that defense was probably better than what the Cowboys defense is right now. And I think Matt Patricia was the offensive coordinator. So that is just another reason why I like this. They actually have an offensive coordinator now. Um, so yeah, that's going to be my first one. I think I got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 player props, and then I got just one money line. Next, I got Russ over 233 and a half pass yards versus the Bears. His last 2 games have been against the Commanders and the Dolphins, and he's thrown for 306 versus the Commanders and 308 versus the Dolphins. Actually, vice versa. So he's hitting way over what his line is right now, and the Bears are just brutal on defense. They give up about 288 pass yards a game, and I think that 233 and a half is low. I know that the Broncos they got blown out, so they had really no option but to throw the ball last week, but I think he just goes around and sort of slings it. Let me just make sure that that's still what that line is. So yeah, Russ over 233 and a half passing yards. All right, the line's up to 239 and a half, but honestly, I still like it. I think he clears 240. Like I said, he's hit over 300 his last 2 games, so I think he'll be fine here. Let me see here. What's next? All right, TJ Hawkinson and the Vikings versus the Panthers. For this one, I have TJ Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions. What do we got? Yeah, okay. It's up to 5.5. Honestly, I still like that. Um, through 3 games so far, he's gotten 9, 8, and 11 targets, and then 8, 7, and 8 catches. So he is hitting that clip. The last 2 games, the Panthers have given up 7 and 9 targets to tight ends, and that's led to 5 and 7 receptions. And we see what Kirk Cousins has been doing this year. He's been throwing in the ball all over the place. And TJ Hawkinson has been one of his favorite targets. So even though this is plus money, I still like it. I think this hits it. I think he gets at least 6. Also, I have him on fantasy, so I'm probably a little bit biased when it comes to him, but he's had a good season so far, and I think the Panthers are just really bad. So I think this would be a good one that's plus money. If not, honestly, you could probably take any Vikings receiver, and they're probably going to have a good game. I just don't think the Panthers have enough to cover all these guys. I guess it's just a matter of finding the right one. Like, I like Jordan Addison a lot too. And obviously Jay Jettas, I mean, that guy gets like 12 targets a game, so 6.5 catches. And for some reason, people just don't cover him, which it makes no sense. I know he's good at getting open, but I just see him all the time wide open whenever I'm watching a Vikings game. All right. Um, Next, I've got. Why is this not working? Trevor Lawrence, passing yards versus the Falcons. 237.5. I do like that number. So far this year, over 237.5 has hit 2 times out of the 3. I think this is gonna be sort of a bounce back situation for the Jags. They kinda got embarrassed by the Texans last week, so I think that Trevor Lawrence is gonna come out and the Jags are gonna have a good game. If you do look at the stats for the Falcons, they have a good run or a good pass defense, excuse me. They're giving up only like 170 yards per game through the air, but the 3 quarterbacks that they faced have been Jordan Love, Bryce Young, and Jared Goff. And last week we saw Jared Goff put up 243 against them. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a much better passer than Jared Goff, especially coming off a bad week like they did last week. I think Trevor Lawrence bounces back and they end up throwing the ball a good bit, and he hits that. Let me see. Last one I have. I have the Dolphins money line. This is a huge trap game. Everybody's super high on the Dolphins, myself included, and rightfully so. They look unstoppable, putting up 70 last week. Every stat in the book points towards the Bills and the Bills winning and covering this game. I mean, I have a couple things written down here. So the Dolphins are the 12th team in the last 20 years to be 3-0 straight up and 3-0 against the spread and be an underdog in their 4th game. So obviously right now they're sitting at plus 124. I took that already. I took that back on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that bet has already been placed. So nothing really adds up to be in the Dolphins' favor. I mean, we've seen what they've been doing all year. They've looked unstoppable on offense, and for them to be an underdog against the Bills, it doesn't make sense. The Bills have played a lot better, but they've also not played that great of teams. I mean, they played Zach Wilson week 1. They played Jimmy Garoppolo week 2, and Jimmy Garoppolo week 2, and then they played Sam Howell last week. So it's not like they're going out there and playing phenomenal quarterbacks. So I think the Bills are good, but this Dolphins team looks just unstoppable. So I think them being underdogs is a little disrespectful. Like I said, I think it's a trap. I'm falling for the trap. I already took this. I also have it in a parlay. Let me just read off to you guys what I have here for this parlay. This is on FanDuel, which FanDuel gives out crazy profit boosts all the time. DraftKings all the time. Oh, for my security, we've locked your account. Well, that's good. Let's see if I can reset my password and do it in a moderately quick time. The one thing about FanDuel is they lock me out of my account more than any other betting site. I have DraftKings and sorry, my allergies are bugging. I have DraftKings and I use the Barstool Sportsbook, but I mean, DraftKings is by far my favorite one. I think it's the best one. I also win more when I'm using DraftKings as opposed to either one of these other betting apps. So you got to stick to what's hot. And I haven't been winning anything. So I'm just gonna keep trying. It's all that you can do. Unless you run out of money and you go into crippling debt, don't keep trying. Because it probably won't work. But um yeah, I don't know. This is taking forever. Um but yeah, that's a couple bets I like for this week. I know that I'm gonna end up adding some as the weekend goes along. I haven't really looked at the college schedule a lot, but I've been just getting absolutely torched in college football. So it's not like me mentioning any of that is going to help anybody out, unless you just start fading me, which that might be all that I'm good for here. But as long as someone's winning money, that's all I care about. So yeah, I think Steve's probably going to get this put up here. I want to say probably tomorrow or Sunday before the games. Um, so just keep an eye out. Hopefully, I gave you guys some winners, regardless of you guys fading me or not. Hopefully, Steve's able to give you guys some winners. Um, have a safe week. Hopefully, you guys win all your bets. Go Birds.